Need some of that sonic super speed. Zoom! Watch the cut. Oh, sorry, ankles. J-Mo getting his. I think he's in for another big one. Oh my, he makes 24, just hurt. Oh my. No block, no rock. Lions are looking to win a 5th straight game and the first over Tennessee this century, while the Titans are hanging on to that any given Sunday mentality, looking for that upset in Motown. Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Johnny Gaz. Thank you for returning for another video. The Lions return home this Sunday to face the 1-5 Titans in a Week 8 matchup. This will be Sunday, October 27th, 1 p.m. on Fox. Let's go through my full game preview. I'll give my headlines and storylines. We'll look at the X factors and the key matchups. I'll talk about my differences in the game, and at the end of the video, I'll give my final score and prediction, so make sure to stick around. Let's go. Before we dive into Lions and Titans, make sure to like the video. If you dig the vibe here at Johnny Gaz Sports, I would also love it if you consider subscribing to the channel. We're just over 2,100 subscribers thanks to you guys. And if you hit that notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss any future videos. There's a membership option available. I do my live game play-by-play reactions, tier lists, and a ton of other fun content, but there's always free stuff for you here all the time. Make sure to comment down below. Who do you have in this Week 8 matchup? Can the Titans hang in there this week as they come to Ford Field trying to upset the Lions? What do you have as a final score? Let me know down below. Let's dive into Week 8. Let's kick this off with the headlines and storylines as we head into this Week 8 matchup between the Detroit Lions and Tennessee Titans. Let's start on the Lions side, and we have to start with more unfortunate news. Jameson Williams will be suspended for the next 2 weeks for what is deemed to be a performance-enhancing substance. Jameson Williams has had several quotes this week accepting responsibility, but is a little bit unsure of exactly why the NFL has suspended him. So it's a lot of up-in-the-air questions still left here, and it's unfortunate for a player that you thought had sort of moved past this sort of thing. It's kind of a 2 steps forward, 1 step back situation for Jameson Williams. The organization, Dan Campbell, does seem to support him. They seem to trust him and have said all the right things. But the Lions will be without Jameson Williams for this Week 8 matchup against the Titans. Also, there's been a lot of news and rumors surrounding the Lions potentially bringing in help for their defensive line. They've been linked to several trades. Of course, there's been a lot of talk surrounding Max Crosby and the Las Vegas Raiders. Also, the Cleveland Browns, Darius Smith, Myles Garrett. Again, nothing to this point has happened. There has been no official moves made by the Lions as of Friday, the week of this football game with the Titans. So we will keep our ears to the ground, and I will keep you updated if any moves are made. Outside of that, the Lions entered this Week 8 matchup relatively healthy. We know about the players on injured reserve, including Aiden Hutchinson, and of course now they will be without Jameson Williams, but the only player that has not practiced this week is defensive end Josh Pascal. He has an undisclosed illness. We're not exactly sure what this is, but the Lions do expect him to play this Sunday. They will have returning guard Kevin Zeitler, who missed their Week 7 matchup against the Vikings, so they should have their full offensive line heading into this matchup with the Titans. Lions come into this game at 5-1 on top of the NFC North standings and the NFC standings in general. They're riding a high-octane offense and MVP candidate Jared Goff. They have a superior running game and a ton of weapons offensively. They're also looking to come up with other solutions and scheming tactics for the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. So they're really looking to get right defensively and continue their offensive prowess in this matchup against the struggling Titans. The Tennessee Titans certainly made the headlines this week as they were very active in the trade market as they look to be sellers now entering this matchup at 1-5. The Titans traded wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to the Kansas City Chiefs for a conditional 4th-round pick. DeAndre Hopkins was on an expiring contract with the Titans, so it certainly benefits them to trade him away now and get something back in return rather than losing him for nothing. DeAndre Hopkins had 15 catches on the season for 173 yards and 1 touchdown. The Titans also traded away linebacker Ernest Jones to Seattle. In return, they got veteran linebacker Jerome Baker as well as some draft pick compensation. Jerome Baker on the season has 30 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, and 1 sack. And injuries for the Titans, you got to start with quarterback Will Levis, who is questionable for this matchup, but all indications are he will not play against the Lions, and Mason Rudolph will get another start. Also injuries, they will be without offensive tackle Jalen Duncan. He has a hamstring injury. He is doubtful, but at this point appears to be out for this Week 8 matchup. Cornerback L'Jarius Sneed is also questionable with a quad injury. He did not practice Thursday. Wide receiver Kelvin Ridley, also with a foot injury, is questionable, also did not practice on Thursday. Tennessee comes in with first-year head coach Brian Callahan, who Lions fans should be familiar with as he was quarterback coach here for a few years. But the Titans have really been struggling, especially offensively, as they have not been able to find any sort of rhythm and have really struggled at the quarterback position. Although they have been able to lean on a pretty solid defense, and that's what the Lions will really have to be concerned with in this matchup. Titans come off a loss to Buffalo where they actually had a 10-point lead, but then ended up losing that football game 34-10. All right, so let's get into it. Let's talk first about the key matchups, and I really struggled to find areas where these two teams are going to be competitive against each other. Lions have advantages all over the football field, but let's go through some things that I think we need to look out for. Key matchups in this Week 8 game between Lions and Titans. You got to start with the Lions offensive line, this rushing attack against the Titans' interior defensive line. And I think if there's an area where the Titans really excel, it's on the interior of their defensive line, where you have players like All-Pro Jeffrey Simmons, as well as this rookie Tavondre Sweat. And they really do a good job at stuffing the interior, especially against rushing attacks for other teams. They're actually best in the NFL at stuff rate at 29.2%. So the Lions will have to try to find success in their lateral or outside rushing attack. And I think that's where a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs, Sonic, really comes into play. Another key matchup to keep your eye on is the Titans' rushing attack against the Lions' front seven. Offensively, the Titans don't do much well, but they have been able to run the football at times. They brought in Tony Pollard. The team itself averages about 113 yards per game. That's 22nd in the league. Tony Pollard himself averages 66 yards and has a 4.3 average. They've found success on the outside zone, and that's why I bring that up here, because it looked like the Lions had some struggles developing an edge, especially against the running game. That first play of the game where Terry and Arnold sort of got sucked in, the defensive edge really didn't set that edge there, and Aaron Jones was able to get outside and rush for that first touchdown of the game. Again, that's a small picture of a bigger problem, but the Lions will really have to focus in on the outside rushing defense to make sure that Tony Pollard doesn't go off in this Week 8 matchup. Past that, it's very difficult to see where the Lions don't have an advantage in this game. Their offense is truly explosive and I think overwhelms this matchup against the Titans' defense. We know the Titans truly have struggled offensively, and it's going to give the Lions every opportunity to get things right and work on different schemes there on the defensive line. I mean, we're talking anemically bad for the Titans. They are 31st in yards per game, 32nd in pass yards per game. The Lions really should have every opportunity to make plays here defensively. The Titans are bottom of the league in turnovers, allowing pressures and sacks. So again, it really will give the Lions an opportunity to have a field day and take over this matchup here against the Titans. In speaking of the heavy advantages, let's get into our X factors, and I think we got to start at the quarterback position. And if the Lions have a biggest advantage in this game, I think it's what they can bring now at quarterback. Man, we've come a long way from the Jared Goff of 2021 to where we are now at in 2024, where he is everything an MVP candidate should be. Him and Lamar Jackson are kind of a two-man race at this point. That is truly incredible. I love talking about it. And he's proving it statistically. Last 4 games, Jared Goff, 84% completion rate, 9 touchdowns to 1 interception, and he has had a quarterback rating over 140 in the last 3 matchups. The Titans are better in run defense, if anything, so it really will allow Jared Goff to do whatever he wants to do, I believe, in this matchup. I think the Titans lack skill coverage in their back end, and I think that they are susceptible to being worked over in the middle of the field, and that's really where the Lions' passing attack excels. Amon-Ra St. Brown, the two running backs that get involved in the passing game, Tim Patrick. I mean, these are going to be huge pieces to this, all surrounding the X factor that I believe Jared Goff will be in this game. Sticking with the Lions and on the offensive side of the football, I think you got to go to Jahmyr Gibbs. We know that the Titans have some success in the interior rushing defense. Well, I think then you go back to Jahmyr Gibbs and the outside rushing attack, the lateral rushing success that I think that they will have, and the speed that Jahmyr Gibbs brings, his elusiveness, his power, the Lions' run game in general, and knowing now that they'll have their full offensive line at their disposal, I really think they take over the game, and I think a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs will be a huge piece to this. He is certainly so multidimensional. This Lions offensive attack in general is hard to defend because they can come at you in so many ways, and I just don't see how the Titans can defend it here in Week 8. And let's jump over to the Titans side of things. If there's going to be X factors in this game, I think you got to start with the rushing attack. Tony Pollard, who has shown flashes here this season, 94 carries, 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. He does have that 4.3 yard average. And again, I think if the Lions are susceptible anywhere in the run game, it's on that edge. And I think the Titans might be able to establish something there. So be on the lookout for Tony Pollard on this Week 8 matchup. And looking at both teams, I think you have 2 premier safeties coming into this matchup. On the Lions side, of course, you have Brian Branch, who has shown that he is a true playmaker. He is really a difference maker for this Lions secondary. On the Titans side of things, safety Amani Hooker has really shown the ability to make plays, and he's honestly been the only guy to do so for this Titans defense in 2024. He has their lone interception. He also has 2 forced fumbles this year. So again, if the Lions are looking to avoid anyone defensively, it may be safety Amani Hooker. The difference in this game, Detroit Lions, Tennessee Titans in Week 8, is going to be Jared Goff and his full control of this offense and what they will do against the Tennessee Titans at home. I just think the Lions are truly firing again on all cylinders, every dimension. Jared Goff is playing next level here in 2024, and I just don't think the Titans have the talent to stop it. And really, I believe that they run away with this football game in points, and I just don't think the Titans can keep up. The Lions, again, they're overly talented here compared to the Titans. They're more disciplined. They're better coached. They really have all the momentum here going into this Week 8 matchup, and I expect them to stretch their legs. It is also an opportunity for the Lions defense to determine, ultimately, can they move forward without Aiden Hutchinson? They had a decent showing against the Vikings, but they went blank as far as pressure and sacks at certain times in the game. That cannot happen here against the Titans. If they're able to show something different, maybe that changes their ideas moving forward. If not, they'll have a pretty good idea of what needs to happen in this trade market before we get to that point. The line for this game is set at Lions minus 11.5 as of early Friday of the week of Week 8. The over-under currently at 44.5 points. As I said in the difference of this game, I think the Lions will overwhelm this matchup offensively. I see them running away with this game early and scoring a ton of points. This one could get out of hand. I see the Lions winning this football game 42-20. It would move the Lions to 6-1, would then drop the Tennessee Titans to 1-6. The Lions are overwhelming favorites here in this Week 8 matchup against the Tennessee Titans, and I see them running away with this offensively in what could be one of the more lopsided matchups of 2024. But what do you guys think? Can the Titans come in and play spoilers, or do the Lions just have too much offensively and run away with this thing early? Let me know what you have for a final score in the comments. Definitely like the video. It's the best free way to help out the channel. I'd love it if you consider subscribing. We're just over 2,100 thanks to you guys. And if you hit the notify bell, it's the best way to make sure you don't miss future videos. There's a membership option available. If you hit the little blue join button on any of my videos, I'll walk you through how you can become a part of the family. But more than anything else, make sure to take care of yourself and your mental health. That's more important than anything. And I want to make sure you come back and see me on future videos. Thank you guys so much for your time. Have a fantastic day and a great weekend. Go Lions.